This morning at about 6:40 a.m., our 911 dispatch center dispatched Atlanta police to a suspicious package or a suspicious note aboard an American Airlines flight number 2770 at the T Concourse gate. Units responded to that location, and upon arrival were able to make contact with American Airlines crew that there was a threatening note on the actual plane, and so the pilot had returned that plane to the gate after receiving that threat. We began our normal operations of actually responding to incidents and relocating the plane so that we could conduct an adequate sweep to see what was actually going on and whether or not there's a specific threat on the plane. FBI and all of our other partners were notified, and that plane was cleared at about 10 o'clock this morning. During the entire process, normal operations continued with Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, and at this particular point in time, we're in the investigative mode to determine the origin or the source of the actual note itself.
It was a note, not a package?
So, correct, it was a note, more in line with a sticker, and so at that particular point in time, we wanted to make sure that we looked at it and tried to deem if there was any specific threat to that particular note.
Was it a handwritten note?
No, it was not handwritten.
Was it like a magazine cutout kind of one?
It was really just a sticker, a little black sticker, and actually the sticker actually states on there, "You're gonna die," and so the actual attendant as well as the pilot, knowing that information, took it as a threat, and we responded accordingly.
Where on the plane was it located when you found it?
In the rear galley area, pretty much close to where meals are prepared within the plane itself.
Do you have any idea where it came from? Is there video surveillance of that area, anything like that?
Not to my knowledge. We are going to be working with American Airlines to see if there's any additional information, including perhaps speaking with the actual present crew as well as the previous crew to see if we can determine a timeline of when the actual note was actually noticed, or whether there was any delays in anything. But ultimately, that will be part of the investigation that we'll conduct along with the FBI to see if we can get to the source of it.
That's not a part of the plane that passengers normally have access to, is it?
Not normally, but I don't believe, based on my prior knowledge, it's not a normal place, but it's closely accessible to one of the restrooms, perhaps. So it's pretty close area, but not where you would normally see passengers or anyone just hanging about.
Were any incoming or outgoing flights affected at all? Was any of them stopped, delayed, or?
Not to my knowledge. When we have incidents, there's an operational plan that we'll actually initiate. We utilize a specific runway, and so during those periods in time, normal operations will continue with those other 4 runways, since we have 5 runways here at Hartsfield. There may be a slight delay in some of your arrivals or departures, but we make sure that we work closely with the FAA to keep everything moving like it should, based on the threats that we have here at the airport.
And one runway was temporarily closed?
Correct.
That is accurate statement?
Correct, yes, absolutely.
Where was this flight headed?
Dallas, Fort Worth.
It was a flight crew that called you all about it?
So we were notified through our 911 communications dispatch, but once we arrived on the scene, we were able to determine that the pilot as well as the flight crew made the call to American Airlines and the communications center so that we could start the investigation and respond.
Can you just talk about, when you find notes or anything like this that you consider a threat, especially on an airplane, why that's such a serious incident?
Well, anytime we have anyone who feels threatened by a specific message, or if it be an act or whatever the case may be, based on that, we're going to give the response that, for number one, our airline partners are requesting, and for number two, if anytime there's someone who has that threat or feels threatened, then we have to respond and treat it like it's a real incident. So we're going to make sure that we go from the very beginning of our operations plan to the end to ensure that we can resolve it. Ultimately, we want to make sure that when everyone gets on that plane, they feel safe and know that they will be able to make it to their next location.